This guy is our main character. He's a lecturer at a prestigious magic school. On his very first day, he taught his students a way to use magic that is 3 times faster. He finished chanting the spell in less than half a second, instantly shocking the entire school. Because he's not just an ordinary teacher. He came from the military, having survived countless life-and-death battles, and his master is the only immortal vampire in the world. An ordinary person who can master 5 elements is already considered very powerful. As for him, he has mastered more than 10 elements. All right, no more rambling, let's begin. I lost my father when I was young. When my brave little sister and I were almost adults, my mother told me, "My son, you should become a shaman, or in other words, a spiritual medium. You have the qualifications to become a shaman. The spirits have always been protecting you. If you don't follow that path, a cruel wrath will fall upon you one day soon." Just like that, my mother continued to impose her beliefs on me. She gave me poems, drawings, and even strange magic circles. However, I had decided my own destiny, so I never accepted it. As a way of rebelling, I focused more on my studies and research than before. 10 years passed, a time during which I became a self-reliant man in society. I passed away in nothing more or less than an accident. I couldn't believe it. Was this the wrath my mother spoke of? But what was even harder to believe was that I had been reincarnated. I had never believed in an afterlife, yet everything my mother said had come true. Humans cannot understand things. They haven't experienced themselves. Unfortunately, it was only when I died that I realized that. So what am I supposed to do now? The scene cuts to a classroom where the young man stands at the podium and announces loudly, "Class is starting. I will continue the lecture on the method of activating magic circles. I'm hiding under the identity of a professor at a magic academy. How did things turn out this way?" The scene shifts to the imperial capital. But before getting there, one must go to the train station. A polite ticket inspector stands beside the train platform entrance. "Hello, may I check your ticket, sir?" "Thank you, sir. I wish you a pleasant journey." The man calmly boards the train. Cabin 403, so that would be the 3rd room in car number 4. He arrives in front of room 403. Upon entering, he sees another older-looking man sitting and reading a newspaper. Seeing him, the man greets him, "A pleasure to meet you." The young man politely nods back in greeting. Not long after, the train begins its journey. Soon the train has left the city. The 2 men in the same room sit in silence, not exchanging another word. The young man looks up from his book at the other man. Glancing at the newspaper the man is reading, he gets a rough idea of the current situation. The civil war in the kingdom of Utah has ended. Victory belongs to the princess's faction in the end. The civil war in Utah has ended. The man looks at him with a scrutinizing gaze. Indeed it has. I was always curious when it would end. It feels like just yesterday, the prince's side was still trying their best to reinforce their troops. It's fortunate that everything has ended. Please forgive my rudeness. My name is Lugger Cherish Gerard. I don't have a family name. You must be a noble, I presume. Yes, but from a family that is past its prime, so you need not worry. Oh, I see. What is your destination, Mr. Gerard? I'm on my way to Lindebrunn, the capital of the empire. I hear that area is very popular with tourists. The Exilian Empire is known as an ideal destination for tourists due to the outstanding development of its magical devices. My final destination is Redderbelka. I was just accepted into the Sioran Academy of the Exilian Empire. You're so young, you must be very talented, he replies shyly. Not at all. I just barely met the standards. Well, many people don't even meet the standards. You should be prouder of yourself. Thank you for your compliment, sir. Speaking of the civil war in Utah, have you heard that rumor? That the key factor leading to the princess's faction's victory wasn't a brilliant sorcerer or high-ranking knights, but a rogue mercenary named Machiavelli. Is that so? Come now, your reaction is a bit indifferent, because I think it's just a fabricated rumor. But it's not a fabricated rumor. Machiavelli is one of the many names I use. While wandering the world in search of a certain object after thinking, he continued, Mr. Ludger, you'll be teaching at Sioran right away. Yes, I've been assigned to the 2nd year. You're starting with the 2nd year. You're definitely more talented than you let on. Hearing this, Lugger was bewildered. Gerard quickly averted his gaze and shook his head. His mouth moved as if saying something. Suddenly, a massive explosion from afar shook the heavens and the earth. His peaceful train journey was also significantly affected by this tremor. Did the engine explode? That's not very likely. This Magitech train is very heavily protected. Then a terrified scream was heard somewhere, making Gerard even more certain of his judgment that this was an attack. It's probably the act of a group of robbers targeting merchants or some nobles, if that's the case. There's a sorcerer among them. We should either hide or get out of here. Please wait a moment. As a precaution, I'll lead the way. Lugger looked left and right, ensuring it was safe before stepping out. I think we're the only ones in car number 4. The other passengers, do you think they're holed up in their cabins? Each cabin has its own defensive spell. That's not feasible. The outside of the train is also protected by similar magic. I think the cabins are no longer safe. So that means the problem is in the third car, right? Right next to us. Why do you think they haven't come here yet? If I were a robber, I'd target the first car first because wealthy passengers buy first-class tickets. Then we're quite lucky. We should use this time to escape to the next car. We just need to hold out until the guards from the front arrive. But suddenly a robber swung in through the window. Lugger instinctively protected Gerard behind him. The robber glared fiercely at the two of them, as if they had done something wrong to him. He doesn't look too well, does he? Then he drew his knife and charged forward to attack. Lugger used magic. He calmly cast his skill and then attacked the robber. He was paralyzed by an electric sphere, unable to do anything for a period of time. Did you finish him off? He shook his head and replied, Not at all. I just temporarily paralyzed him. Seeing him about to approach the robber, Gerard stepped forward to stop him. He said it was fine. He just wanted to interrogate him a bit. He stepped on the man, pointed his baton at his face, and yelled, Speak, what is your purpose? The robber was silent for a long time. Then he started to chuckle. I didn't tell you to laugh. Answer me now. The robber answered with grinding teeth. Filthy scumbags like you deserve to die. After saying that, he opened his coat to reveal the bomb he was carrying. At this moment, the number on the countdown timer hit 1. In the final second, what Lugger heard was Gerard's terrified scream in his ear. Immediately after was an explosion with considerable destructive power. Although its force didn't blow the train off the tracks, the Rocky Mountains shook incessantly. It's unknown how much time had passed amidst the smoke and dust. Gerard held his head, lying bewildered in the wrecked train car. He anxiously asked after Lugger, How are you? Are you okay? But when he could see clearly, the young man was nowhere to be found. The train car corridor was empty, without a single figure. Then he ran outside to search frantically, calling his name. Suddenly he realized the outer mask he was wearing had been torn. Looking at it, he frowned. I spent so much money on this. When he pulled it off, it revealed a sturdy young man. He scowled and clicked his tongue. Why does all the bad luck happen around me? I had no grand reason for using the alias Machiavelli. I just wanted to use the name of a famous person from my past life's memories. I used to spend a lot of time traveling everywhere, and I got into a lot of trouble, so I had to change my identity many times. Machiavelli was just one of the identities I've had. Back then, a lot of things happened which brought unwanted attention to someone who couldn't reveal his identity. But luckily, the princess was sound asleep in her victory, so I seized the opportunity when they weren't paying attention to me to change my identity. At that time, I was on a magic train to Lindebrun, and yet, thinking of this, he sighed again. Why is it that wherever I go, an accident happens? The train took such a massive explosion but still sped on. He threw the mask away with a look of pity. May you rest in peace, Mr. Lugger. I honestly didn't think an accident like this could happen, especially on a day like this. Who would have known he'd detonate a bomb after being electrocuted like that? Ordinary thieves wouldn't do that. What a brilliant mindset, wanting to die, a grand death. Perhaps their real target wasn't money, but this train itself. The train's guard ran around asking questions. Seeing him, he was extremely worried and asked if he was okay. But looking at what was in front of him, he hesitated slightly. He looked at the guard and said, An armed robber attacked us. It seems they're targeting car number 1. We should probably head down below. I was also about to evacuate the other passengers. This passenger, you should hurry as well. Before he could finish speaking, the guard was grabbed by the neck and pinned to the ground by him. What are you doing, sir? Why so suddenly? With a face as dark as the bottom of a pot, he said, Do you think such clumsy acting will work on me? But that robber seemed to have been waiting for a long time. An express train on this rugged mountain range is one thing, but the protective magic on the train was even broken. To do this is quite difficult and time-consuming unless someone on the train did it. He looked at him with a bewildered and worried expression, but in just a moment that expression changed. From his sleeve he took out a small knife. He wasn't one to be trifled with either. Immediately putting the knife to the man's throat while holding his wrist. "I advise you not to act rashly. You're quite fast, aren't you? Who are you people? What do you want? It's useless to keep your mouth shut. Let's move." But after just a few steps, the train became unstable again. That familiar sound made him shudder. He quickly pushed the guard forward. Immediately, from some hidden corner, a sniper shot several holes through the guard. They didn't even give him time to send a signal. Could it be he told them beforehand? Then someone rudely kicked the door open and entered. What, there's still someone alive? We fired quite a lot of rounds. How is he still alive? Who are you to spit out words like alive and dead like that? The group didn't say a word and just raised their guns to fire. He glanced at the whole group, just as they were about to pull the triggers. They found their joints stiff and unable to squeeze. What's happening now? The guns won't fire. Hey, wait a minute. That guy couldn't be... A magic circle appeared in his hand. It was only then that the terrorists realized he was a sorcerer. He used some kind of magic to disable our guns. Then they looked to the side where a swirling aura was gathering in one spot. Then the magic in his hand vanished. It was actually neutralized. I didn't know there was a sorcerer on this train. "Give up, the terrorists," said as they moved a few steps closer to him. "If you give up, I'll grant you a less painful death. He looks quite strong, but he's probably just a level 4 sorcerer like me. It has to be, otherwise I would have heard rumors about him." His eyes suddenly became strangely calm. This train exploded 10 minutes ago. There's still a long time before the train passes the Aret mountain range, and reinforcements will take a while to arrive, so I can't rely on them. If that's the case, it's better to rely on myself. He jumped Hansen. "Go check it out, hurry." Looking out, he was gone. The man named Hansen peeked out and said, "It seems he really did jump. He must be scared." Before he could finish his sentence, Hansen was gone forever. The people below were shocked to hear that. But how did he use flight magic? Is it possible to follow a moving train with flight magic? All of you shut up and chase after him quickly. Our opponent is a sorcerer. Bringing too many non-sorcerers will only get in the way. Just leave a few people behind. The rest will surround car. Number 1. Following the leader's command, the group started firing. He had to move constantly on the roof of the train to avoid their bullets. The people below heard his footsteps and immediately gave chase. "He's running to the last car. Get him quick." The door had just barely opened when an explosion erupted, lightly taking the lives of a few terrorists. A trap? Impossible. How could he do that in such a short time? What the hell? Compared to the sorcerers I've faced in the past, he's very different, terrifyingly different. His movements are incredibly practical and effective. He's more like a hunter than a sorcerer, maybe even a mercenary for all I know. Then the terrorists heard a loud noise from outside again. The leader heard the sound and immediately figured it out. That guy detached the car and escaped. I should have realized it sooner. He didn't need to fight us at all, he thought as he rushed to the door. Opening it, he saw the two cars had separated and were quite a distance apart. Just like that, half left and half stayed. He looked at the silent train behind him, deep in thought. Damn it! We've lost him. We can't give up the entire train just because of that guy. I've memorized what he looks like. We'll find him and take care of him soon. Suddenly, the leader felt an invisible pressure on his shoulders. What is this powerful mana wave? Where the hell is it coming from? He looked back in confusion and saw him standing there, who knows since when, along with a dazzling golden magic circle. He looked at them coldly, as if giving them a few seconds for their last words. How can he be here? Don't tell me this is another trap. The light streaked through the terrorists, making them dissipate like dust in a strong wind. The leader reacted quickly, drawing his sword to block a few magic attacks. A moment later, his expression turned to fear as he told his subordinates, "Tell them to run for their lives." But the light grew brighter and brighter, swallowing the terrorists whole, leaving no one behind. After some time, faint smoke drifted through the car. He stood there looking at his handiwork before him. Is it over? So you managed to survive, huh? Why did you eliminate us? Don't you feel any guilt towards us, your comrades who dedicated their strength to this world? As he was about to continue, the man cut him off beyond my imagination. Your madness is truly beyond my imagination. Weren't you the ones who wanted me dead first? How can you say that daring to ask for sympathy only after things have turned out like this? Are you going to run your mouth like that right in front of the people you've already put in coffins? And you wanted to find and kill me, and now you're blaming me. Of course I can. Initially, I was planning to run. But you've seen my true face. And I know that if I run, you'll definitely chase me. Dealing with you now will free me from a lot of trouble. A long slash mark suddenly appeared across the leader's body. He was also extremely shocked by this scene, not understanding who had acted in his place. Stepping in from outside, a girl with a radiant aura entered with a chilling air. She asked in a worried voice if he was okay. You must have been very worried, but please rest assured now, because I am the young knight commander, and I have appeared to protect everyone. In another train car, a few gunshots rang out. Damn. How did they get here so fast? I can't believe they'd use flight magic in this weather. The members of the cold faction handled the hail of bullets with ease. Then that person withdrew their hand to gather power. He charged forward quickly, sweeping through the group of terrorists. Powerless, they could only cry. With just one cold streak of light, the terrorist leader of this area was completely defeated. The knight glanced at the remaining ones. The moment their eyes met, the whole group became terrified. What followed were the terrified screams of the terrorists. It was pitiful to hear, but whatever. Car number 2 is cleared. Car number 1 is as well. We have ensured the safety of the passengers. Vice Captain reporting. We have finished clearing all the cars. Good work, everyone. Escort the safe passengers to the next stop. Very quickly, the train arrived at Redderbelka station. He silently looked outside, lost in his own thoughts. The female vice captain of the Knights approached. Are you all right, sir? Those terrorists didn't injure you, did they? Thanks to the help from the Knights, I'm perfectly fine. I was just thinking a little. I'm very relieved to hear that. I apologize for the delay. I am Veronica DeVille. He was about to say something when someone interrupted. Turning around, a square-faced man approached and spoke calmly. Are you the commander of the Knight Corps? Yes, I am Vice Captain Veronica DeVille. I am Inspector Lemloose from the Redderbelka City Police Department. I received a report of a train attack in the Aret mountain range. Yes, we eliminated all the terrorists there. We are very grateful for the actions of the Knight Corps, however. There are a few things not mentioned in the report. Things not mentioned. What are they? The train was taken over extremely quickly. Even though there was a sorcerer among them, they boarded the Magitech train too easily. We suspect that someone on this train may have assisted in this attack. What you just said is very reasonable. Of course, this is all just speculation. We will immediately dispatch someone after investigating the identity of the suspect. She nodded to show she understood. Then she turned to the person inside and said, You heard him. As long as you are honest, there will be no problem. He gave a calm smile. But inside, he was extremely worried. This is bad. Gerard's identity has no flaws. The ticket was bought through a normal transaction and I boarded the train legally. The problem is, no matter how you look at my face, this isn't the face of a man over 40. I'll definitely be hanged. If I'm lucky, I'll just be tortured, I guess. There's a whole bunch of knights and inspectors outside. Escaping is impossible above all else. The personality of this vice captain is a classic example of someone ruthless towards criminals. She can smile and be nice to me now. But the moment I'm identified as a suspect, while he was thinking, the inspector's voice cut him off. Are you still all right, sir? My apologies. It took me quite some time to get the passenger list from the train. I'm just checking your identity, no need to worry. If you still have your ticket, would you mind if I took a look? It's cabin 403. Seems like there's no issue. Let's see, in there was a young man around 20 named Ludger Cherish and a man around 40 named Gerard. Where is the other person? He cleverly gave a vague answer about the person's identity. He was unfortunately caught in an explosion when the train was attacked. It happened right as the train was passing the Aret range, so he unfortunately fell into the chasm. Oh, is that so? He nervously swallowed a gulp of saliva. Vice Captain Veronica spoke up. Please wait a moment. This man cannot be the suspect. He fought the terrorists before the Knight Corps arrived. Why would he do that if he were an accomplice? He fought them. Ah, I see. So that's what happened. My apologies, Mr. Ludger. He was also very surprised by the other's actions after hearing that. What's this? You've just been accepted into Sioran Academy. After saying that, The two of them looked at him with sparkling eyes as if they had made a great discovery. He was cornered, and seeing an escape route drawn for him, he began to act. That's right. As you both said, I am the newly accepted Professor Lugger Cherish. After completing some necessary procedures, the vice captain and the inspector saw him out and chatted for a bit. Again, I apologize for this inconvenience. Mr. Ludger, he replied politely. Not at all. I was able to arrive here smoothly. Thanks to both of you. Why don't I escort you to Sioran Academy? You are the one who will educate the future generation of the Empire. How could I casually see you off alone? He silently roared in his mind. Being escorted by you people makes me even more uncomfortable. I need to go somewhere to take care of a private matter. You don't need to trouble yourself for me. If you say so, then let's do as you wish. Then I'll take my leave first, Miss Veronica, though it was brief. It was a pleasure to meet you. Yes, Mr. Ludger, I hope we can meet again. After saying goodbye, he quickly blended into the crowded street. He walked with a firm and confident stride, but inside he was extremely worried. I did it. Sorry, Mr. Ludger, but you saved me. I feel lucky that photography in this world isn't developed. Ludger and I are hard to distinguish based on just one photo. I'll probably be fine after this. After escaping that mess, I need to hide while finding a new identity. But that thought was extinguished as soon as it sparked, when someone's voice calling Ludger rang out. So it really is you. I saw you talking with the knight. I am an employee of Sioran Academy. My name is Wolford. I came here to pick you up after hearing about the terrorist incident. I'm so glad you're okay. Please get in the carriage, sir. I will take you to Sioran. Seeing that he couldn't escape, he reluctantly put his plan on hold. The carriage rattled along the street. The only special thing was that instead of using normal horses, the Academy used energy-powered horses to pull the carriage. He sat silently in the carriage thinking, this is bad. I didn't expect them to specially send someone to pick me up. And that person, he's not an ordinary employee. Ignoring his muscular body, I couldn't sense his presence when he approached me. He must have been a knight at least. If I try to escape with some foolish excuse, he will definitely suspect and follow me. For now, I'll choose the safe option. It might be better than running away. Gerard has been confirmed dead. I can be considered a ghost right now, so even if I'm dragged somewhere, no one will notice. To be honest, it would be better if I had a solid identity. I should play the role of Ludger Cherish while waiting for an opportunity. We have arrived, Mr. Ludger. This is Sioran Academy. Looking at the school grounds, he was extremely surprised. This entire area is the campus of Sioran. It's even larger than I thought. I will take you to the office. You can leave your luggage with me. He led him down the wide corridor. He entered the office and spoke first. I am Ludger Cherish. I have come at your summons. The woman sitting at the desk looked at him intently, the corners of her mouth unconsciously curving up. I've been waiting for you, Ludger. I am the headmaster of Sioran Academy, Elisa Willow. Are you all right? I heard you were involved in an assassination attempt. It wasn't too serious. I was saved by a knight just in the nick of time. That's good news indeed. Our academy would get a bad reputation if our newest professor were to be injured. To put it bluntly, for the school's reputation, her mind probably isn't very clear. But more importantly, I felt something strange before. Am I imagining things? Has Ludger met this professor before? Will she realize I'm not him? As if guessing something, Elisa smiled and said, This is the first time I've met you in person, but you really are handsome. Thank you for the compliment. You don't need to be so formal. No need. When the school year starts, the students will be in an uproar. All right. First take this. I've already informed you about it, but it doesn't hurt to be thorough. The contract will last for 2 years. Your salary is written in it, and we will provide room and board. He looked at the contract thinking, this is the contract. I plan to leave as soon as possible, so it's not that important. As soon as he saw the zeros in the contract, his whole body stiffened. Converted to the continent's common currency, that's 30 million dana, which is $300,000. What do you think? The terms are good, aren't they? He forced himself to answer. Not bad at all. I say that. But my reason has exploded. I've hit the jackpot. Calm down. The expectations for a professor at Sioran Academy are also very high. Can I settle down here, a place where the halls are filled with geniuses? But I've already committed to the job. It would be more suspicious if I came all this way just to refuse to work. I have no other choice but to agree. Deception, trickery, and mood manipulation are my strengths. I've checked it again. Let's sign the contract. I have real experience and it doesn't require theoretical knowledge. I think I'll be a decent professor. Very well, I look forward to working with you, Professor Ludger. Likewise, Headmaster Willow. As he shook Willow's hand, he calculated his own situation after 2 years. That night in a certain house. The new school year starts in 3 weeks. I have a lot to prepare. It's hard to believe they rented a whole house for me. So this time I'm an academy professor. I've been in this world for 27 years now. I was reborn with no abilities and only memories of my past life. I had to survive on my own because of those terrible parents. I survived many ironic situations. It's hard to believe I'm now a professor at Sioran. This is like being a spy. More accurately, I'm being forced to be a spy. I need a new identity anyway, and this Ludger guy is perfect for me to impersonate. He's a fallen noble from the small kingdom of Quoden. He's an only child. Both parents are deceased, and his letters are all blank pages, so it seems he's not close to anyone. That means no one can recognize me. This identity is too perfect. The remaining things are the teaching content and information about Sioran, all right time to survey the area. Now I remember I haven't eaten anything since that train accident. I guess I'll start tomorrow morning. Where did they say the restaurant was? Early in the morning, he stopped by a cafe to relax and read the newspaper. It's been 2 weeks already, time flies. I've more or less finished the necessary tasks, and the preparation for class has been quite smooth. The school year starts in another week. I just need to focus on practicing. Seeing someone arrive, he thought the rush hour was coming, so he quickly drank his coffee and prepared to leave. The newcomer chose a seat right behind him and whispered, "I'm glad you are still safe. I thought something had happened to you." Hearing that, he almost couldn't swallow his coffee. The atmosphere of the early morning cafe was very quiet. Seeing him not moving, she said, "Why haven't you contacted us for 2 weeks? The other members are also very curious about your situation." He calmly took a sip of tea without answering. When he was done, he put the cup back down. "All right, let me check a few things first. Well, to be precise, they came looking for someone named Ludger Cherish." The girl continued, "That assassination attempt was just an accident. We didn't think the rebels would attack at that time. I also need information about Sioran. What didn't we already send it to you? I have to verify if the information is accurate." Hearing that the girl said she understood and rummaged for some documents. His voice was calm, but inside he felt like he had been on edge for a long time. "Should I play along right now to avoid suspicion? So has your side handled everything?" "Of course. Before coming here, we assassinated all the key figures of the academy and found the traitor in our organization. From what I've heard, their limbs were torn off and stuffed into their own throats, then thrown to wild dogs to eat. Do you think that's a fitting end for traitors?" His eyes flickered with bewilderment as he glanced at the girl behind him. He kept telling himself to stay calm. Suddenly, the girl flinched as if she realized something. "I'm sorry, I should have checked before reporting, right?" "It's fine. Why did you suddenly come to see me?" "Because it's been almost half a month since the level 1 arrived, but there has been no news, so you acted on your own during such a crucial time." Hearing this, the girl was extremely bewildered and hastily apologized. "Your suspicious attire already bothers me. Do you want to look even more suspicious? They're agitated by my actions, that must be it. This girl is afraid of this person named Ludger. All right, that's enough. It's time for the check. So how many people have gathered?" 31 level 2s and 7 level 3s have successfully infiltrated. The other level 1s arrived earlier and have settled in according to the plan. "That's everyone I know. I'm done checking. Get up and go." "I understand. For the next meeting, you just need to go to the designated location beforehand." "You want me to come?" Hearing him ask, the girl seemed to be under immense pressure again. He didn't hold back and added another sentence. "A lowly person like you is giving me orders." Hearing her stammer in fear, he continued, "I don't want to hear your excuses. I will decide the meeting place. I only meet when summoned by someone of equal or higher rank." "Higher rank means level 0, sir." "That's right. Don't bother me with trivial matters unless it's from that person." After saying that, he strode away. As he walked, he tensed up. Damn, those guys are more dangerous than I thought. Assassinating the Academy's key figures and what they do to traitors, that's insane. I have to get out of here quickly, but the girl suddenly called him back. "Please wait a moment, sir." He stopped in confusion but didn't turn around. "When you will call us, how will you do it?" "I've never thought that far ahead." Do I have to tell you myself? Ah, no, sir. Have a safe trip back. Upon returning, he immediately rummaged through information. As a fallen noble, he has no relatives. Fastest to reach level 4 and a professor at Sojin. Damn it, I should have been suspicious sooner. The reason Ludger's circumstances are so ideal is because this identity was created from the beginning, just for this purpose, because he couldn't use his real identity to infiltrate the academy. The letters he sent and received under Ludger's identity were all just codes. Ha, damn it. He looked up at the ceiling and thought for a long time. I'm done for. I can't believe the path I chose in a hurry led me to a nuclear bomb like this. Then he opened his books again and continued his research with the available clues. He sends and receives codes in Quoden. I was suspicious because he was very inconsistent, but the real problem is Level 1. Infiltrate Sojin Academy as a professor and gain the school's trust. The next steps will be sent, depending on the situation. Sojin isn't the only thing I should be worried about. The more he thought, the more his head ached. But no matter how I think about it, it's hard to believe. What kind of high-ranking secret society member would get involved in an assassination on a train and die? He's a high-ranking member of an organization that has infiltrated Sojin with many spies. Someone like that should have survived. What's the use of criticizing someone who's already in a coffin? Anyway, there's one more thing that must never be known about me, Sojin Academy and the secret society. Perhaps it would be better if I contacted them today. According to the girl I met today, the secret society has 4 levels. Level 0, Level 1, 2, and 3. I don't know what Level 0 is, but it's good that I know it exists now. The most important thing now is who the remaining Level 1 is. If he's Ludger's friend, he'll soon find out I'm an imposter. For now, the priority is not to get caught. The most ideal scenario in my mind right now is Sioran eliminates them for me. Sioran is very powerful. I just need those guys to make a move. No matter how powerful the secret society is, they can't destroy them. Of course, I should provide corresponding information so I don't get stuck between the two sides. Just thinking about the tightrope I have to walk to appease both powers gives me a headache. But it'll probably be fine. I can't relax for these 2 years. Blue sky, white clouds, a harmonious atmosphere at Sojin Academy. Students excitedly start their school day. In the classroom, students have arrived and are preparing their materials for the new lecture. Have you guys heard? The incantation. Theory and Elemental Deciphering class has a new professor. A new professor for the 2nd year. He must be really good, right? I don't think it was planned because the previous professor suddenly resigned. I mean, the professor was protested by the students right in front of other students too. Flora, they're talking about you. Oh my, what did I do to make them act like that? As a student, I just wanted to point out to the professor that their magic technique was wrong. But you know what? His resume is outstanding. I heard he wrote a lot when he was a military officer. So isn't he a good person? Truly not ordinary. But you know that person is a fallen noble. Really, it'll probably be easy to get points. Then the girl named Flora heard the crowd whispering and felt even more disappointed. The classroom door suddenly opened, and Ludger stepped up to the podium. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I am the new Professor Ludger Cherish. His eyes were sharp and calm, looking directly at each student. Seeing this, the students fell silent unconsciously, feeling a bit of pressure. He continued. Since this is just a trial class, I won't go straight into the lesson, but will give a few notices first. I will be teaching you incantations, but the way I teach will be very different. I will focus on practical applications. I won't just be teaching theory. And this class will not be just for the 2nd year students here. 1st years can also participate. Silence. I understand your complaints, but I will not lower the difficulty of the class, so please don't try to bargain. A student raised their hand to speak. Can we know why you are allowing 1st years to join the class, sir? Looking closer, it was a polite, blonde-haired girl who seemed very talented. He found her quite familiar, but his expression remained unchanged as he continued. As an educator, I feel it is my responsibility to train everyone equally, regardless of their year of study. Of course, I understand that my class is different from the current standard. Please explain in more detail, sir. I still find it very hard to understand. If I tell you beforehand, where's the fun in that? If you're curious, then attend my next class. However, I must warn you. If you think my class is an easy grade just because I'm a new professor, I will make you regret it. As an educator. he said in a stern voice, glaring, while silently hoping the students wouldn't come to his class. Of course, I've prepared for all the classes, but the fewer students I teach, the better. If second-year students have to be in the same class as first years, they'll feel offended, right? Besides, who would want to take my class after I've said it's difficult? I'm done speaking any questions. The students looked at Ludger in confusion and swallowed. Is it because he's from the military? His aura is truly imposing. They say he's the youngest person to reach level 4, right? They were curious about many things, but they couldn't bring themselves to ask any questions. Flora looked at the new teacher with interest. After a moment of silence, he spoke up. If there are no more questions, then the trial class ends here. Then he left amidst their existential doubt. The burden in my heart has been temporarily lifted. Who knew no one would ask any questions? I thought there would be some questions about myself. Well, it's good for me, but the answers I spent time preparing are now useless. Wait a minute. Don't tell me they're intentionally ignoring me. It's not that strange. I should have been friendlier. I probably hurt their pride. Was I too intimidating? As he was walking, he noticed the students who had just left the classroom. Everyone looked at him with apprehension. Some even stepped back a little. It was only then that he noticed the students lined up on both sides were looking at him with great anxiety. It's just my speculation, but is it really true? Are you the new Professor Ludger? A pink-haired girl approached and politely greeted him. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Selena. I'm also a professor like you. Ah, it's a pleasure to meet you too. What's the matter? She hesitated before speaking. Well, I was wondering if you've eaten yet. The scene shifts to somewhere on the school campus. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I'm Brino, the instructor for the Golem summoning class. I'm Merida, I teach Charm and Illusion, which is part of the Curses and Dispelling Darkness course. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I'm in charge of the Incantation casting class. I am Ludger Cherish. He looked around, assessing. This seems to be a party for the professors to get to know each other. Meanwhile, a young man stood a few meters away from the crowd, observing. Feeling a gaze fixed on him, Ludger curiously looked over at the person. The man didn't even seem to notice and turned away. Miss Merida leaned in and whispered to him. That's Professor Chris Benamore. As you can see, he is a noble unlike commoners like us. The new professors consist of 1 noble one, fallen noble, and 3 commoners. They might all have different rules, but each possesses extremely high skills in their respective fields. In other words, it's highly likely that another level 1 is among them for all I know. Arriving a bit early doesn't make things easy for me. I can't even trust my colleagues. The arrogant Professor Chris said I can't stand being here any longer. I was very curious to see what the new people would be like. Who would have thought it's just a fallen noble and a few commoners? Don't defile me, you all can have fun by yourselves. Especially you. Don't be so arrogant when you're just a fallen noble like that. After saying that, he turned and left. I know he's a noble, but how can he look down on us like that? Don't pay him any mind, Professor Ludger. I'm fine. If he doesn't want to eat with us, then we can just go eat without him. The other teachers agreed and went to the dining hall together. For now, I should be content that I don't have to eat alone. Very quickly, another day was about to end. A magic circle appeared somewhere. That night, discussions and rumors about Ludger began. Have you heard anything about the new professor named Ludger Cherish? He's rumored to be the youngest to reach level 4, and even has experience in the military. I heard he also participated in the hunt for the mysterious creature. People also say he wrote his name on the magic tower as a freelance sorcerer. Is that true? The short-haired girl thought for a long time and told herself, I can't ruin the level 1's class. I need to call on as many students as possible to attend his class. As it turned out, the information quickly reached the other students. Although some were scared, they were also very curious. The next morning, he went to class according to the schedule. Today is the first real class. I wonder how many are left. I gave a clear warning that my class is like hell, so no one would want to join, right? If they did, it must be because they had no other choice, right? Because the other subjects are already full. At most, there would only be 30 students. In the classroom, the students were discussing animatedly. You've seen that post too, right? And it seems that thanks to that post, the lecture hall was packed. He was also very surprised by this result. Why are there so many students? All the seats are filled. And there are many first years too. Isn't it uncomfortable to be in the same class with upperclassmen? It feels like someone is pulling the strings from behind to trick me. No, it's probably just me underestimating the students. Because Kaorin is where the top students on this continent gather, I should have stimulated the kids' competitive instincts. At this point, I probably have no other choice. He said sternly, "Since there are new students attending the class for the first time, I will introduce myself again. I am Lugger Cherish. I teach the general incantation, casting process. I will do my best to teach with all my ability." I have a question. Does the general you mentioned cover all 4 main specializations, sir? He glanced at the student who asked the question. The student froze as if turned to stone. He said, "Questions are only to be asked when I give permission. I will let it slide this time because it is the first time. From now on, anyone who interrupts the class or challenges me as a professor will have points deducted. Of course, there will also be opportunities for bonus points, so work hard, kids. But since you've asked the question, I will answer. Yes, I will teach all 4 main specializations. The 4 main elements include release elemental possession, extrasensory perception, and reinforcement. Those are their corresponding names. Usually just teaching 2 specializations is already difficult, but he plans to teach all 4 as just a new professor. It feels like an exaggeration. The girl named Flora was deep in thought, looking doubtful. Lugger tapped his pointer on the board and said, "Since today is the first class, I will show you something to spark your interest. This is a fire elemental incantation, fluctuating flame. It uses release as a basis for combustion, oxidation, condensation, expansion, diffusion, and acceleration. So these 7 components will unify in sequence to create the technique. What I'm about to show you is how to cast an incantation 3 times faster." Hearing that the students were filled with existential doubt, "Flora, do you think he's telling the truth?" "I'm not sure. I don't think it's possible, unless the fundamental structure of the incantation has been changed. There are methods like leather scrolls to store incantations in written form or reflecting memories, but each has its own limitations. If he's thinking of one of those 2 ways, I'll be very disappointed, Professor." Lugger also sensed that doubt. He said, "It seems you have many questions. I will only answer a few." Given the chance to ask, the students eagerly vied to ask questions. "My name is Alex Saline. I'm a 2nd year. What do you mean by shortening the casting speed of an incantation?" "I mean exactly that. It will be cast faster." "Next question, I'm Dahlia, a 1st-year student. Does that mean you'll be adjusting the technique?" "No. If you mess with a complete technique, it will become a different incantation. What I will show you is how to shorten the casting speed while maintaining the incantation as it is." "Professor, that's impossible." Hearing a student object, he didn't argue right away, but listened quietly as she spoke. "I'm a 2nd-year student, Flora Lumos Professor. What you're saying is impossible." The other students looked at her and whispered, "She's finally getting involved. That professor is done for." I never agreed to anyone speaking without my permission, but this time, I will listen. "Why are you so certain it's impossible?" "According to existing formulas, the only method to shorten casting time is through regeneration. You're talking about an achievement that no genius has ever accomplished before, so I can't believe it. So instead of saying it can't be improved, what if it just hasn't been improved? Magic is stagnating because we focus too much on tradition and history. Meanwhile, science is steadily advancing to the point where it could threaten the position that magic has held for so long. I'm not saying science is superior to magic, but that magic still has room to grow. Therefore, your judgment is flawed, because no one has ever tried to improve it. I will be the first." Being contradicted for the first time, Flora was flustered. What the hell is going on? Is he so arrogant that he feels no shame? It will be very difficult to understand just through explanation, so I will demonstrate it for you. You said your name is Flora, right? Do you know the average casting time for a fire flash? It depends on the caster. For a level 3 sorcerer, it's 10 seconds, but higher levels can shorten it to 5 seconds. Correct. But I don't rely on the method of leveling up. I'm talking about other methods that suit the abilities of each student in the class. So the fastest case would be 5 seconds, although I can cast it a little faster than that. You are indeed very confident. So can you come up to the podium and demonstrate it live? Flora agreed without hesitation. She stepped up to the podium and began to cast her magic. A ring of fire quickly appeared before her wand. followed by a large magic circle. The observing students, though they knew what was coming, were still very surprised, as expected of the daughter of the Lumos family. Truly very fast. He stood beside her, timing 478 seconds, total casting time. An achievement almost impossible for a second year. The process is also perfect, she turned and said as if it were nothing. But he still criticized it as too slow, causing Flora to freeze. The fastest record for a level 3 sorcerer is 4:41 seconds, so it's still too slow. Flora, of course, immediately retorted, "If I get used to it, I can cast it faster. Even that 4:41-second record is still too slow." Hearing his declaration, the entire class was in an uproar. The whole class watched carefully. This is how you use a fire flash. He began to cast his magic. Flora watched intently, wondering what he was doing. That's not the technique for a fire flash. But immediately the magic circle appeared. Witnessing it firsthand left the entire class so astonished they couldn't close their mouths. What just happened? The spell was completed in the blink of an eye, taking less than a second. Just now, that definitely wasn't the fire flash technique. There was no spell completion process at all. See that I'll do it one more time for those who missed it. He placed his wand, and immediately the magic circle appeared. This time, both Flora and the other students were left speechless. After all, the expressions of all of you have changed. The fire flash I just cast only took 0.24 seconds. A huge difference compared to the existing record. However, you can see it's a bit unusual, because the first time I chanted the technique I used wasn't a fire flash. But the final result was the fire flash spell. To be more precise, I used one spell bridge to cast another spell. The students heard this and looked at each other in bewilderment, unable to digest this hot-off-the-press knowledge from him. Ludger continued to explain. So as soon as I pay the price, the item appears instantly. You can understand it as a unique blueprint. Through the biological hardware, which is the sorcerer consuming data, called mana, and following a program called a technique. Thereby activating the software called magic, I call it source code. Source code. I've never heard of that kind of magic. What is this, teacher? Has your question been answered? Flora Lumos. Flora reluctantly admitted it. You willfully interfered with my lecture without my permission, because you couldn't overcome your own prejudice. Do you admit your mistake? Flora couldn't retort and obediently admitted her fault. At this point he said sternly, your action is an undeniable challenge to authority, therefore. Flora Lumos, I will deduct 10 points from you. All the students in the classroom discussed in bewilderment, not expecting someone so excellent to also get a penalty. To Flora it was like a humiliation, but she couldn't deny her own fault. She could only angrily return to her seat. Applying the carrot and stick approach, he continued. However, your fire flash technique was cast perfectly. I will give you 10 bonus points. I don't dislike capable students. That's very commendable, Flora. She thanked Ludger, but her fists were still clenched tightly. Her friends breathed a sigh of relief. This way one could say that the penalty never happened. Her best friend sitting next to her looked at her with concern. Flora smiled in return. Thanks for your concern, Cheryl. I'm fine. She can get over this so quickly as expected of Flora. But Cheryl didn't know that although Flora said that, she was still extremely upset inside. Now let's officially begin the class. I will select some students who can keep up with the class and teach them source code. If you want to learn it, then work hard. The students meeting his gaze didn't dare to be negligent. The classroom was silent. Only his lecturing voice could be heard. Sitting up front, a student looked at him with admiration. Because everyone was just saying strange things about the professor, I was wondering if I had chosen a terrible class. But it's amazing, I'm really at Sioran. Very quickly the class ended. He told the class to go home and review on their own, then left. The students also left their seats. That student was still excitedly exclaiming to himself, source code. I never thought I'd be able to witness that. You admire it just from seeing that little thing. You're implicitly admitting that you're an idiot. That's why commoners can't do anything. The boy with glasses looked at the blonde-haired friend who had just spoken. The short-sighted boy looked around. Realizing the other person seemed to be talking to him, he scratched his head and said shyly, Ah, are you talking to me? The blonde boy angrily scolded, Are you mocking me? No, how would I dare? How dare you ignore Javan, the eldest son of Baron Peliot? If you're referring to the Peliot barony, isn't it located at the furthest border of the empire? Oh, so Sioran even accepts infants now. Better than accepting a foolish kid from a childish barony. Being mocked, Jevon was bitter, but couldn't retort. So the young man wanted to get physical. How dare you look down on a noble? I'll make you pay. Seeing a threatening Jevon, the other young man's face darkened. He said, then try it. Why hesitate? Try it. You'll see what happens if you attack us. Even if you're a noble, getting away with it here at Shorin isn't as easy as you think. Weren't you already being watched before you even arrived? Also, when you're shouting, you should check your surroundings. Don't you see there are still other people here? He glanced around bitterly. Reluctantly, he threatened them a few times and then left. Watching Jevon leave, the boy with glasses finally breathed a sigh of relief. Thanks for your help. I'm Aiden. I'm Leo. No need to thank me. I just find it annoying when he causes trouble in the name of nobility. You're so kind. Did you hear what I just said? Whatever, I'm leaving. Seeing this, Aiden quickly wanted to follow Leo said, without even turning back. Seeing this, Aiden quickly wanted to follow Leo said without even turning back. What you're holding is an alchemy textbook, right? My next class is also alchemy. Leo didn't answer directly, just sighed and said, suit yourself. Also, it would be better if you stopped giving those signals, Aiden asked in confusion. Leo answered, rustic, mediocre signals that you haven't learned magic properly. Is that true? I don't know much about that. You should also know what's happening around Sioran, especially from the second year onwards. There are many students with outstanding achievements. First is the second-year Flora Lumos, the one who went up to the podium during class, right? Yes, I heard her personality is terrible, so it's best to stay away. There's a rumor that the previous incantation professor quit because of her. Next is the royal lineage of the Excellion Empire, the third princess Arendir von Excellion. Nothing good will come from commoners like us interacting with a high-ranking noble. Ah, she's in this class too, right? I think I saw her somewhere in the middle. Exactly. And finally, the leader of the largest noble faction in the second year, Freuden Volberg. You mean one of the 3 ducal families. Yes, they see commoners like us as insects, so it's best not to get involved with them. Luckily, it seems he's not in this class. Speaking of which, that idiot from before is also from that noble faction. So I guess I've been marked by them. Well, I can't do anything about it. Anyone else? I don't know if you're brave or just reckless. There are still a few more I'll tell you on the way. Great. Do you want to have a meal together? Why would I do that? The 2 young men left unaware that someone had overheard their entire conversation. Over here, Ludger was lost in his thoughts. The reaction was better than I expected. I wasn't expecting much. The basic time frame of this world is about the 19th century on Earth. Even considering the power of magic, there are still many shortcomings compared to the rapid development of 21st century science. That's why I integrated science and magic when creating the source code. The truth is, I never thought the reaction would be this intense. The first time I saw what I created, God only said that much, so I didn't expect much. It can use magic quickly and accurately, but the final limit is level 3, and the creation process is extremely complex. I can't keep relying on the source code. If I don't want to be discovered, I have to prepare more. Is this my office? Just as he opened the door and stepped in, he saw someone was already inside. Elisa smiled and spoke first. Hello, Professor Ludger. How is it? The interior is quite nice, isn't it? Faced with this special person, he was momentarily unsure how to react. Sioran provides each professor with a private space. You can do whatever you want here. Is that so? But what brings you here? Did I come to a place I shouldn't have? Oh no, I was just a little curious and, to be honest, a little pressured. Because Professor Ludger is an invaluable asset to Sioran. As the headmaster, of course, I have to pay special attention to you. After saying that, she looked at him intently again. What's wrong? Every time our eyes meet, my body feels tingly, she said with a pouting expression. But your reaction is a bit cold. I was expecting a surprised expression from you. I'm sorry to say this, but I'm surprised enough already. Even if I met a ghost at midnight, it wouldn't be as surprising as this situation. I just opened the door, and why are you here? The truth is, the other newly accepted professors were also surprised. Professor Ludger is the last one. You also appeared in the other professors' offices. Why am I the last one? Unless she has her eye on something. Even if it's a secret society, someone who can become a headmaster, she can completely grasp the minor changes within Sioran. Could it be she's suspicious of me? That's not right, but it's really too unfair. I don't belong to the secret society, but I have the responsibilities of the secret society. I heard you also accept new students into your class. Yes, I don't intend to draw a clear line between the years. I don't mean to criticize you, in fact I agree with your method. There are some very talented kids in the first year. There's also a student who uses unconventional magic. Is that so? I only observed the student's attendance slips. Anyway, because the princess is also participating, please be careful to avoid any potential problems. You don't need to pay special attention to her, but it will be very difficult if complicated matters arise. I have high expectations for you, Professor Ludger. In any case, I'm glad you finished your first class smoothly. The student evaluations aren't bad, so my worries have been alleviated. At this point, he made an invitation. You should have a cup of tea before you leave. And of course, she happily agreed. I appreciate your kind offer, but I still have a mountain of work to deal with. Please take good care of me. After saying that, she gently closed the door. How was it? Is Mr. Ludger trustworthy? To be honest, I'm not so sure. Is that so? If the headmaster investigates personally, I believe there will be progress soon. Is that so? If the headmaster investigates personally, I believe there will be progress soon. That's right. Even after facing my enchanting demon eyes twice, I'm surprised he wasn't affected by them at all. If he were at level 4, he definitely wouldn't be able to avoid it. There was no reaction at all after looking into Vacania twice. That means he resisted them with willpower alone. An interesting fellow. The train terrorist attack because of a group of people hiding within Sioran recently. I can't overlook even the smallest thing. What if that attack was just a smokescreen, and the person named Ludger was switched during the chaos? What do you think about this, Mr. Wolford? I dare not say for sure, but I think he is definitely not an ordinary person. Although it's just an old man's hunch, you know, my ability to judge people is very reliable. Of course, if I want to trust Professor Ludger, I'll have to observe him for a while longer. Over here, Ludger had just dealt with a ticking time bomb and was exhausted. Private meeting my ass. No matter how you look at it, she came to interrogate me. But anyway, I haven't done anything to get caught yet. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Oh, now that I think about it, the Lumos family is an extremely influential ducal family. No way. The girl's family won't pressure me because of what happened earlier, right? No way. Why would she care about that? I even gave her bonus points as a way to make peace. By the way, just as the headmaster said, this place has a lot of talented kids, from newcomers backed by the magic tower to the princess of the empire. Flipping through the documents, a page suddenly caught his attention. Is this the kid with the unusual magic? But why does this child look so familiar? Well, I'll remember later. Anyway, I can't let my guard down yet. From the way she looks at me, I can tell she still doesn't completely trust me. Or would it be better if I sided with the secret society? The girl before called me Your Excellency. There's no way she wouldn't know what Ludger looked like when he boarded the train. That means she calmly accepted Ludger's changed appearance. If Ludger really is someone skilled in disguise and infiltration, no, of course I shouldn't. I know very well what would happen to me if I get caught. There's no guarantee they would save me even after dedicating myself to the organization. For now, the only choice is to do a good job as a professor. Suddenly, a knock on the door from outside interrupted his train of thought. Hello, Professor Ludger. I've come to deliver this item, a patrol certificate. Yes, because today is Professor Ludger's shift. Come to think of it, I believe it was mentioned in the contract. Anyway, I've delivered it to you. I'll take my leave now. He sat in contemplation, looking at the paper in his hand. Nothing will probably happen, right? In the training area. What did you say? Repeat that for me one more time. I said there's no reason for me to leave because this place is free for everyone to use. If you feel uncomfortable, why don't you leave yourselves? Are you talking back to me, a commoner like you? Sioran doesn't rank students based on status and bloodline. Didn't you know? You blindly believe that nonsense that makes you happy. Commoners are so stupid. Aren't they, Lady Dwenema? The lowly are just trying to climb up. I told you after saying that. The whole group burst out laughing at the girl. What's the matter? No matter what I say. These people have no intention of listening. You heard me. Commoners should get on their knees and beg for forgiveness. Seeing the short blue-haired girl turn her head and ignore her, the other young lady became even more annoyed. That commoner is gone. Lady Dwynema, She had to do it eventually. Such meaningless stubbornness. How dare a commoner ignore me? Something like you. How dare you do that? She said, as she used her wand to cast a magic spell. The magic circle formed, shooting out countless bolts of lightning. This sudden action made her two followers unable to stop her in time. The short-haired girl was attacked suddenly and couldn't react in time. The lightning bolt struck in front of the short-haired girl, creating a dazzling blue-white light. The lightning dissipated. Seeing the girl unharmed, the young lady angrily shouted, "Who is it? Who dares to interfere?" A deep voice answered her, "What are you all doing here? I can't believe you would dare to fight in a training area specifically for honing a sorcerer's skills. No, it can't even be considered a fight. I didn't expect such a major incident to happen right at the beginning of the semester. Sioran must mean nothing in your eyes, huh?" None of the students below dared to talk back to him. Some were surprised, while others showed their defiance. He gently flew down, but didn't forget to scold them. I thought I would let it go if it was just a normal argument. But no matter how you look at it, this is one-sided violence. "Why are you doing this, sir? This is clearly a matter of protecting the authority of the noble class." He repeated, "Authority, all students of Kyorin are equal. It doesn't matter how noble your bloodline is, therefore I cannot overlook this. Follow me to the office immediately." The young lady, seeing her authority was worth less than nothing, was extremely angry. "You bastard! You lowly fallen noble." Realizing she had slipped up, she immediately became tense. The followers who were always with her also became scared. The short-haired girl he had just saved looked at him in confusion. Lugger was silent for a long time. His voice filled with anger as he looked at the student behind him. "What did you just say?" With just a few short words, his entire body erupted with a powerful aura, making the other young lady feel suffocated. He stepped forward and told her to repeat those words again. Faced with such terror, even standing was difficult, let alone speaking. He stood in front of the young lady and said slowly, "Did you just call me a fallen noble?" The other students quickly informed another teacher to come and help. Professor Selena, seeing the tense situation, intended to intervene. Lugger reached out, placed his hand on the young lady's shoulder and patted it a few times. The tense atmosphere from before eased up. Selena froze, looking at him. "Just as you said." The arrogant young lady Dwinema looked at the professor in front of her in confusion. He said calmly, "Just as you said, I am indeed a fallen noble, but this place is Sioran, and I am a professor of Kyorin. But what you just said was a blatant provocation of a professor's authority. Am I wrong anywhere? But you are still a student. Adapting to a completely different environment is very difficult for you. So I will let this go. Consider it a warning for your slip of the tongue. Of course, you will have to face appropriate punishment for what you did to your classmate. All right, Lin? Are you hurt?" The girl named Lin answered that she was fine, and only then was he relieved. "I'll leave the rest to you, Professor Selena." After that, he turned and left. The student Lin felt her heart pounding. He remembers I attended his class. I was just one commoner among 80 people back then, someone not worthy of the professor's attention. Remembering Ludger, she unconsciously murmured his words. At Sioran, everyone is equal. My first impression of him was just a scary professor. I feel like I can trust and follow Professor Ludger. I will do my best. He went outside, sat on a bench, and sighed. At that moment, for some reason, countless voices echoed in his head like a whole beehive flapping its wings inside his mind. He took a vial of medicine from his coat, tapped out a few pills, and swallowed them hastily. I'm alive. I would have been in big trouble if I hadn't brought my medicine. Why the hell did it get chaotic? At this moment, I almost revealed my unsightly appearance. I felt the symptoms of a headache when I started my first year at the training center. Even so, I could endure it until I encountered the argument. But halfway through, the symptoms worsened. I was planning to leave quickly. But why the hell did that girl have to say that? At that exact moment, I couldn't even pretend nothing happened, and that I didn't hear it. I think I said some things that deserved a round of applause, but my face was extremely uncomfortable. I probably didn't look that scary then, right? The vial I just drank was the last one. I'll probably be okay for about 5 days. Situations requiring the use of mana might arise in those 5 days. If I borrow the infirmary, I'll have to leave a record. That's too dangerous. I need to contact him quickly. The next morning, a werewolf. What did you say? That's right, a werewolf. The students who visited Rederbelka yesterday saw a dark figure wandering on the rooftops amidst the night fog. I see an urban legend, but there are also those kinds of people inside Kyorin. Of course, they might have seen other things, but we still can't deny the possibility that it's real, because a strange phenomenon has also occurred inside Siorin Academy. There are even 7 ghost stories of Siorin. Did you know that there's that kind of story too? Yes. Have you never heard of it? Professor Selena seems to know a lot about ghost stories, doesn't she? Hearing him say that, Selena blushed and explained, "It's not that I always thoroughly research ghost stories inside Siorin when I hear them. It's just that when I want to have a casual conversation with the students, I often think of topics that are easy to discuss. So I looked into those ghost stories a bit. It's not because I have a deep interest in them, and certainly not because I like them and am drawn to them. Yes, I understand. So please calm down." Merida mediated. By the way, Professor Ludger, I heard you demonstrated a very captivating topic in your very first class. A world-shaking magic that can shorten casting time. What was it called again? Source code. The conversation between the 3 of them attracted many surrounding teachers who wanted to eavesdrop. Yes, that's it, right? Is it real? He nodded in confirmation. So it really exists. I can't believe that kind of spell exists. The teachers who were eating also put down their spoons and turned to listen. Seeing everyone so eager to listen, he was a bit puzzled. Merida explained that it was because everyone was interested in Professor Lugger's magic. The rumor had already spread. But is it okay to just demonstrate that shocking magic here? That's right. If it's that amazing, you could even get a patent from the magic court. I don't really care about those things because it's better if you ignore those patents. Because without backing, you can only lie still and wait to be robbed and beaten. And of course, you don't know what will happen if the magic tower gets to you first. The problem is all the professors are staring at me with fiery eyes. That's Chris Benamore, right? That gaze could send someone to their grave. His thoughts circled back to the werewolf story. That night was a full moon. He stood by the roadside as if waiting for someone. Could he be wandering around here? Lugger was unaware that the thing he was looking for was behind him, staring intently. Having identified its prey, the werewolf lunged to attack. As the werewolf pounced, Lugger gracefully dodged to the side. He followed through with his leg, giving him a kick that sent him sticking to the wall as a greeting gift. His posture was relaxed, hands still in his pockets. "I was wondering why you were so late. It turns out you were waiting to pull a stunt. This is intimidation." Damn it. Couldn't you have just stood still and acted surprised to survive or something? Anyway, long time no see, brother. Right. Lugger smiled back in greeting. Long time no see, Han. You're still causing trouble like this, just like in the past? What is it this time? Damn it, you think I enjoy being like this? How was I supposed to know that a dog being held by a strange woman would chase after me? You are just born funny. Don't laugh just because you're not the one in this situation. At this point, I feel like I'm cursed. Han is a person with a very special trait. Whenever he is bitten by an animal, he will absorb their genes, and then whether he wants to or not, he will transform into the shape of that animal. Anyway, you brought the medicine, right? Ludger took out a syringe and said, "It's here." Thanks, I can't walk around looking like this. Han's large, muscular body began to change. Without you, I'd be miserable for days again, just like the first time we met. I had a mission to eliminate a cryptid, but a giant chihuahua appeared and took us completely by surprise. Thank God everything was resolved, or else I would have been a goner. By the way, that guy is Ludger Cherish. Now that I think about it, that seems to be the name written on the letter. A tutor at Siorin. When did he create that identity? Also, why did we meet in Rederbelka when the plan was the capital? What happened? That night, Luger told Han everything, and the quiet street echoed with his loud laughter. You're unbelievable. If it were me, I would have been caught immediately. How on earth did you manage to save yourself in that situation? If I wanted to live, I had no other choice. On top of that Ludger guy belongs to some secret society with an unknown identity. Yes, it's called the First Order. The First Order. Do you know anything about it? It's definitely in my memory. Just recently, some new strange guys appeared in the underworld calling themselves some kind of order. They called themselves some order thingy. It's definitely them. So what's the name of that group? The Black Dawn, that's the name. You might have survived by luck, but wouldn't just one mistake have been enough to get you caught? Yes, that's why I need to be prepared. By the way, did you bring the suitcase I asked for? Ah, here. You haven't opened it, have you? I'd have to be crazy to open your suitcase. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't open it. Now that I think about it, Sedina is also waiting for me. Well, nobody thought something like this would happen. Anyway, both of us are dependent on the medicine. More importantly, we could meet immediately because you arrived 2 days ago. Why did you write in the letter that I had to wait? What are you talking about? What do you mean? The day before yesterday, rumors about a werewolf started spreading. What I just arrived in Lethenburg today. Why would I have been wandering around for 2 days? After saying that, the two fell silent for a long time. Just then they heard a strange sound. Brother, that thing. Ludger nodded. It's the real deal, a werewolf. Damn it, it's even a limited edition authentic one. I don't think it has spotted us. We need to leave quickly. No, if we move it'll notice. I have a hunch it's looking for the nearest prey. He looked up and noticed the silver piece on the werewolf's neck. Han, I have to check. You want to catch that werewolf? There's something glowing on its neck. Someone must have intentionally left it there. Who would do that? That's why we have to check. It's been a while since I've seen you use this. The last time was when you were still an active cryptid hunter. Didn't you have a nickname back then? What was it again? Von Abraham von Helsing. The werewolf sensed someone approaching and whipped around. Seeing Ludger approach, the werewolf bared its fangs, drooling. It leaped once, then landed in front of Ludger. It growled as it looked at him. Just as I thought, it's wearing a shackle on its neck. There are many things that make me curious, but I'll figure them out one by one after I've got this monster by the throat. The werewolf attacked and he gently stepped back. Then he used magic under his feet. The werewolf kept attacking while he calmly cast spells and dodged. Soon he was cornered against a wall. Seeing this, the werewolf charged forward excitedly. Ludger wasn't rushed or panicked. He waited. The corner of his mouth curled up involuntarily. The magic circles he had just cast began to activate. The werewolf, restrained by the suppressing formation, could only let out a loud roar. A moment later, the werewolf collapsed and fainted. Its head was buzzing with very uncomfortable, distorted sounds. Han, peeking from his hiding spot, watched in utter surprise. Why did it suddenly act like that? Did it eat something bad? I set up a kind of resonant, ultrasonic sound around here. A normal person can't hear it, but its head must be in a lot of pain. There's no need to use an expensive silver bullet. Now let's see where this thing was created. Just then, another sound echoed from the distance. It sounded faintly like a lot of people were heading this way. The police. Damn it, why now of all times? The werewolf, lying on the ground, suddenly jumped up and ran. Looking up, he saw that it had already jumped onto the roof. Ludger threw a chain, the hook latching onto the side of the wall. He pulled the chain taut, leaped high, and saw the werewolf fleeing. I won't let it get away. The patrol team followed the sound. Searching. Over there. There's someone on the roof over there. Arrest any suspicious individuals in this area. Meanwhile, Ludger was still relentlessly chasing the werewolf. Despite using all 4 legs to run, it couldn't escape the 2-legged young man chasing from behind. The werewolf leaped forward in a huge bound, then landed on the roof of a train. It thought it had escaped, but no. It turned around to see him landing right behind it. I only intended to defeat you. The two stood on the train roof, staring intently at each other. He picked up his favored weapon and said, "But you've given me no other choice." The werewolf charged to attack again. He gently threw what looked like a special edition hidden weapon. The werewolf, full of murderous intent, didn't think much and just dodged to the side, ignoring the hidden weapon as it continued its charge. But special editions often have a rather special trajectory. That dart curved and came back around. It grazed the werewolf from behind, forcing it to stop its attack and dodge. Good senses. I had intended to finish you off with that last attack. With that, he chanted a spell, preparing for the next attack. Just as the magical attack arrived, the werewolf swatted it away. Seeing that his opponent was resistant to magic, the staff in his hand began to spin and change its form. He sent a line of magical attack behind the werewolf. Ludger gave it one surprise after another. He threw a hidden weapon to open a path for his attack, and at the same time he charged forward to strike. However, the werewolf both met his attack head-on and dodged his hidden weapon. In just a few careless moments, The werewolf had a patch of fur sheared off by Ludger's hidden weapon. Ludger seized the opportunity to leap above it. He brought his full force down, striking its head with the staff, but the werewolf opened its jaw and bit down hard on his staff. He thought it was over, but unexpectedly that staff was actually a special sword. He spun around, as if performing a dance of death. He aimed for the weak spot and swung his sword. Everything happened too quickly for the werewolf to react. Ending with a sharp slash and a clean cut, the werewolf was gone forever. Elsewhere on a deserted night street, Han, holding Ludger's suitcase, ran while expressing his dissatisfaction. I almost got caught. Did he say he was going to catch a werewolf? But how long is he going to take? As he was running, something suddenly fell in front of him. At the same time, Ludger landed in front of Han. Did I startle you? Please give a heads up before appearing like that, will you? I almost dropped the suitcase. But is that the werewolf from before? Don't tell me you plan on leaving it like this. I've already gotten the information I needed from it, so I don't need it anymore. Then why did you bring it with you? If I said it was because I wanted to startle you, would you believe me? Are you still holding a grudge because I tricked you? After checking, it's indeed a mythical creature, an artificial mythical creature, the product of some experiment. I think I should just stick to the original plan. Don't tell me it's that plan, Ludger said seriously. We should settle down here. This place is better than the capital in many ways, and we have no choice but to stay here for a while. In Kyorin, with an unidentified secret organization. Also, don't forget the lunatics who released these creatures. Because this is a big city, there will definitely be gangsters too. That's why it's perfect. Because those incidents will capture everyone's attention, and it will be safer for us. Gather the important information first. Huh, bro? Are you saying I have to do it alone? That's right. I'm currently under suspicion, so I can't do anything suspicious. Just gather the information and report it to me because I will step back from this matter. I get it, that's my specialty. I can't expect everything to go smoothly. Even though I can't move immediately, I must gather allies soon as a precaution. Well, it's over. But it's hard to believe you can create a werewolf in this day and age. It has laboratory marks on it. I don't think an ordinary force is behind this experiment. It doesn't matter now I've taken care of the werewolves, and now I don't want to get involved in any more trouble. The next morning, media outlets all reported the same news. The unidentified murderer in Lethaver is still alive and well. Last Sunday, 5 more murders occurred in Lethaver, and as a result, the death toll has exceeded 10. The perpetrator's identity is still a mystery, but witnesses say it was a terrifying beast with black fur. The police said the culprit is just a crazed murderer and announced they would find and capture the perpetrator soon. Reading the newspaper. Ludger couldn't help but be stunned, but the article mentioned Sunday. He wondered how that could be, since he had dealt with the werewolves on Saturday. Could there be more than one werewolf? The orb on his desk suddenly lit up. The scene then shifts to a meeting room, where the instructors are engaged in a rather lively preliminary discussion. Miss Selena waved to call Ludger over. As soon as he appeared, the instructors began to whisper and glance at him, some with admiration, some with curiosity, and among them, some with jealousy and envy. Selena whispered, "Have you heard the news? They say 2 first-year students were attacked last night. Luckily, it wasn't life-threatening, but both of them were seriously injured. The wounds look like animal scratches. The student who was conscious said the thing that attacked them was a terrifying monster. I think the rumors from all week are true. They also said there were victims in Lethaver too. The president has arrived. Please be quiet." That's Professor Marie Ross. She's in charge of the pharmacology course. She has worked at Siren for over 20 years. Elisa entered and the entire meeting room fell silent. "I've called everyone to this emergency meeting because there's something to announce. Some mysterious attackers have appeared in Sioran. 2 of our students were seriously injured last night. The perpetrator's identity is still unknown, but according to the witness, it was a werewolf, a mythical creature." Suddenly a voice spoke up in objection. "That's impossible. Did I mishear? Did you just say a mythical creature?" "Do you have something to say, Professor Hugo Bertego? This is Kyorin, a land protected by the Exilian Empire. A werewolf cannot appear in Sioran. How can I believe a ghost story being gossiped about among students?" Professor Hugo, didn't I just say there were 2 victims? I heard very clearly. That's why I believe it wasn't a werewolf. Aren't both victims from noble lineages? Upon hearing that, Elisa immediately understood what he was trying to say. Without a second thought, he declared, I think the culprit is a Quarren student, and I believe that student is a commoner. Elisa frowned, showing her disapproval. He stood up and continued, I'm asking if it's possible this was caused by a commoner student. Why were only noble students attacked? A werewolf attacking Sioren. It's more believable to say someone is impersonating a werewolf. Ludger watched and thought to himself, I thought the Black Dawn Society would be at a disadvantage. I must have miscalculated. I can't believe they're still forming factions when even their combined strength isn't enough. Is this the reality of Sioren, the most prestigious academy on the continent? In that tense atmosphere, something suddenly appeared on his shoulder. Looking closer, he saw it was a small spider model. Paying close attention, he immediately recognized it as a signal. He fiddled with the small spider for a moment. As small as a cheat sheet a student would use for exams, the tiny piece of paper was filled with writing when unfolded. The zoomed-in content read, 3 experiments have escaped. Terminate them immediately if they cannot be captured alive. If the experiments are caught, your true identity may be exposed. After reading, he pondered for a moment, then destroyed the evidence so naturally that no one noticed. He bowed his head to hide a tear rolling back. Oh my God, why are you tormenting me like this? Selena, seeing his unwell expression, asked Professor Ludger, Are you in pain somewhere? I don't know if this situation is related to the Black Dawn Society. Looking at their actions, they probably didn't know about this accident in advance. He would probably be very happy if they suffered losses. But the problem is, my identity could be exposed. If so, I can't sit still. I have to eliminate them before Sioren does. If I'm not quick, I'll be done for if I get caught. Returning to the meeting, Elisa spoke up. Think whatever you want, Professor Hugo, but please just do your part. So you'll be organizing patrols, is that right? That's right. Please remind the students not to wander around late at night. Giving them demerits is also fine. This is an order in my capacity as president. To conclude, the meeting ended and everyone went their separate ways. On his way back, Ludger was walking when he suddenly stopped. Stop hiding. Come out. Sedina nervously swallowed and timidly stepped out from behind a tree. Only then did he get a clear look. It was a short-haired girl who seemed quite timid. This girl, she's clearly the one who approached me at the beginning. Who knew she would come here as a student? He coldly asked why she was following him. Let's move first, follow me. By the way, do you like coffee? After that, the two went to a coffee shop. Now, sitting face to face, he finally had the chance to ask the girl's name, and from that he learned her name was Sedina Rosen. Since you have a last name, you probably didn't enter the school as a commoner student. All right, what's your real name? She timidly said that was her real name. It's not a fake identity. All right, you must be following me because you have something to say. Go on hearing. That she nervously looked around again. He continued, I've cast a soundproofing spell. We'll be fine unless someone enters this area. First of all, change how you address me. From now on, don't call me the First Order anymore. You're not planning to call me that in front of others, are you? This is an order. Let's get back to the main topic. What's the current situation? The recent werewolf incident at our affiliated organization, there was a top-secret experiment conducted by the Black Mages at the Shamsu School. The Shamsu School is a group of scientists ostracized from society for their unethical experiments. And I don't know what kind of experiments they were doing, but a few of the test subjects escaped, and one of them happened to come to Kioran through the sewer system, resulting in victims. Hearing this, Ludger seemed to be enlightened. Seeing his reaction, Sedina anxiously bowed her head and apologized profusely. He said it was fine and told her to continue. She took a breath and continued to explain in detail. It's their own responsibility, so you can blame this accident on them. But first, you came here because you heard it was related to Professor Ludger. He borrowed this name under the orders of another First Order Victor Dreadful. He rubbed his temples and said, He only borrowed my name. I didn't know things would turn out like this. Since it's already happened, it's best to eliminate them as soon as possible, because there are 3 of them. He interrupted. No, there are only 2 left. I've already dealt with one. With that, he showed her the necklace from the werewolf he had eliminated. 2 days ago, you caught one in Litaver. She contacted me without being detected and even infiltrated as a student. How is someone this talented still in the third order? Don't tell me she's being neglected. Maybe because she's a noble. An antisocial organization like that wouldn't welcome a noble. She'll be squeezed for her value and thrown away soon enough. I just saw a crack in Sioran, but I didn't expect to see a crack in the Black Dawn Society as well. Perhaps this accident is an opportunity for me to exploit more from Sedina. You said they're hiding in the sewers, so I'll expand my search there first. Sioran doesn't know about this, right? Yes, that's right, but we don't know for how many days. He nodded and replied, I understand. I'll take care of your matter, Sedina Rosen. Let's meet again if we have the chance. Oh, and you explained much better this time than the first time we met. It was very easy to understand. Next time, I'll ask you to do the same. After saying that, he left, leaving a silent Sedina behind, where he couldn't see the girl bit her lip, suppressing her emotions. Thank you, thank you. At the same time, outside the coffee shop, a student had discovered the two of them. That student even knew about their conversation and was using magic. What kind of conversation requires him to use magic? What the hell were those two talking about? The next day in the lecture hall, Flora's mind was filled with images from the previous day. The magic she had seen through the window just by its color, she could confirm it was a soundproofing spell. A normal person wouldn't be able to recognize the color or scent of magical power. But why? What were they talking about? In a flash, the instructor closed their book and announced the end of class, not forgetting to remind the students, believe the strange rumors and don't wander around too late. If you get caught, you'll receive demerits. Afterwards, the classroom buzzed again with discussions about the werewolf news. Didn't you hear the announcement at the end of class? If we're caught wandering around, we'll be punished. Then we just have to not get caught. The city is also offering a reward to catch that thing. Leo, eavesdropping, asked Aiden what he thought about the werewolf case. Aiden replied, getting caught means disciplinary action, so it's best if we stay away. Right? I knew you'd say that. What about you, Leo? I don't like acting on my own either. There have already been victims. We should leave it to the professors. Tessie aggressively walked over and slammed the table. Leo took one look and knew there was trouble. Aiden greeted her friendly. Hey, Tessie. Good morning. What do you mean, good morning? Hey, now you lost last time. Shouldn't you stop? It was a draw. Besides, can you not stick your nose into mine and Aiden's business? Anyway, let's fight one more time. No holding back your power. I don't think I can fight. Because I still have this morning class, and at night we're not allowed to move around because of that werewolf. Tessie challenged, what, you're going to run away with that excuse? Are you scared? After she said that, both Tessie and Leo stared intently at Aiden. Aiden smiled brightly and replied, yeah, let's just go with that. Tessie said angrily, if we can't fight, we can decide it another way. The werewolf. Whoever catches the werewolf first wins. How about it? Aiden was about to refuse when Leo quickly accepted the deal. Very well. Don't you dare get scared and run away. You too. Don't you cry if you lose. She's gone, Leo. Why did you say such ridiculous things? I was just going along with what she said. The professors will handle that werewolf anyway. I think Tessie is very serious. Hey, unless she's an idiot, why would she do something that stupid alone? To be honest, if it's Tessie, she might actually do it. After discussing for a while, both young men suddenly felt a sense of unease and hastily stood up. The two young men hurriedly looked for Tessie through the window. When did she get all the way over there? That's the way back to the dorms, right? Thank God I knew. Tessie had some sense, but Tessie had changed direction. Her determined gaze further affirmed her will to catch the werewolf. Seeing this, Aiden and Leo grew more panicked and scared. Oh no, the panther has started to move. That night, Ludger began his ghost hunt. So many people came looking for me today, recalling his earlier conversation with Hugo. On the condition that you will help restore the honor of my family. You want me to take care of the noble students. I'm just saying we should be a little flexible. That condition isn't bad. Who would have thought he'd become a fallen noble? He must be very worried. In reality, he wants to show me that clinging to the judiciary is a great advantage. He thought quickly and replied at Sioran. Sioran Academy has no royalty or nobility. I have no intention of going against that statement. If you don't mind, I must go on patrol now. If I think about that faction, my identity will be exposed. I wonder why I have to do this. I also don't want to be blacklisted by the Ministry of Justice for no reason. As he was walking, he suddenly sensed something. Pushing aside the bushes, he saw 3 young students secretly eavesdropping. Weren't you all instructed to return to the dormitory immediately after class ended? All of you get 5 demerits each. This is the 20th group already. I heard there's a reward, but I didn't expect so many students would come looking. Using demerits as a threat has no effect at all. The situation could get even worse if it continues like this. I have to deal with that thing before something happens. Near the Soren sewage treatment plant. He went down into the sewer to observe his surroundings. Sedina said, "The werewolf moves through the sewer system. This is the only place big enough to accommodate a werewolf. It seems no one has arrived yet." Using a light spell, he observed something interesting. Werewolf tracks, and there are 2 of them. One large one, small, heading in the same direction. Hopefully, the tracks won't disappear midway. Following the werewolf tracks, he passed through a drainage gate. They started to split up here. After following the tracks for a while, only the large footprints remained. The large tracks head towards the academy. It must be going there to hunt. The most dangerous thing right now is over here. It wouldn't be strange if someone were attacked right now. Just as he thought of the possibility it happened, a scream echoed from not far away. I won't make it in time if I follow these tracks. I might as well run straight to where that scream came from. It'll be faster. As soon as he arrived, he saw a werewolf attacking 2 students. While both students were panicking, cornered with no way out, he had no choice but to use magic to intervene. The werewolf, caught off guard by the sudden attack, had no time to react. In the nick of time, the 2 girls luckily escaped. As for the werewolf, it was hit by the attack and sent flying. Lugger stood before the 2 students like an impenetrable fortress, bringing a sense of absolute safety. The 2 students, realizing the person who arrived was Professor Lugger, were stunned. Lynn Erendir von Exilion both tensed up when he called their names. Lugger coldly declared that both would receive 5 demerits. Hearing that, both were too shocked to close their mouths. Wait a minute, Professor. Shouldn't you have asked if we were okay first? What could I do but scream like that? I was trying to get the students back. I think you're lucky to still be alive. Instead of talking so much, you should worry about yourself. At least save this child from getting demerits. Hearing that, he was slightly puzzled. Lynn explained that she had accidentally fallen asleep while studying, which was why she was returning so late. Lynn, I admire your spirit, but you should have understood the situation, shouldn't you? Seeing his suddenly gentle attitude, Erendir was momentarily confused. Why is the professor's attitude so contradictory? Erendir, take Lynn back to the dormitory. I will overlook both of your mistakes. Huh, are you serious, Professor? You're letting me go. Are you refusing? Then I'll just have to give you demerits, I suppose. Erendir reacted immediately. Lynn, let's go. Seeing that the internal matters on the other side were settled, the werewolf let out a polite howl, preparing to attack. The 2 students anxiously watched his fight with the werewolf. He just responded calmly, as if it were nothing serious. The werewolf silently observed its surroundings, and after a moment's thought, it decided to flee. You kids should evacuate to a safe location immediately. With that, he quickly chased after the werewolf. The werewolf extended its claws and ran along the wall. Lugger threw his chain, hooking it to the wall to pursue closely. Lynn looked back at Lugger's figure, unable to help but be amazed. Over there, that's levitation magic, isn't it? The 2 ran until they reached the top of the tallest tower, where they stopped. After preparing and calculating, both charged into combat at the same time. Although the combat was very tense, they still moved rhythmically and skillfully, trading blows. After fighting across the tower's roof, they both landed on a lower rooftop. The werewolf charged to attack first. Seeing it in his sights, Lugger cast his magic. As the bright magical light distorted the werewolf's vision, he took the opportunity to jump behind it. Then he unleashed another magical attack. Lynn and Erendir watched in awe. Is that the battle of a mage? Meanwhile, the werewolf had somehow flown in front of Lugger and slapped him. Lugger dodged slightly and gathered a sphere of magic. He decisively fired a shot at close range. The werewolf was hit and fell onto the city wall. Seeing it still struggling, he fired another shot. The magic chased its target, sticking to the werewolf's back like a coat of porcupine quills. The werewolf slid down the wall and lay motionless. So tiring, clearly using too much mana isn't good at all. I can't not use magic to fight in front of the students. I have to finish this guy off quickly and deal with the others too. Just as he got close, the werewolf suddenly sprang up. The werewolf, covered in injuries, picked up a stone with a trembling hand. Seeing this, he immediately realized its intention. As soon as it threw, he used the staff in his hand to knock the stone away. Seeing this method of attack, he was doubtful. Impossible, a werewolf. It knows how to use tools. The werewolf leaped up and delivered a punch that shattered the brick floor. Lugger quickly dodged the powerful attack. He jumped high to observe the area below. He deduced, since that thing was created based on a wolf, it shouldn't possess any intelligence beyond the ability to estimate its opponent's strength. These guys, are they really werewolves? Scene change. Somewhere in the forest, a voice calling for Tessie echoes. Leo and Aiden searched the entire forest, calling for Tessie until their throats were dry, but she was nowhere to be found. Aiden shouldn't. We just give up. We can't find her anywhere. Tessie must have gone back on her own. What, she disappeared? If we can't find her and something happens, it's all our fault. Do you really believe Tessie is still out there looking for the werewolf? I don't know about anyone else, but Tessie would do that. Hearing that, Leo sighed in exasperation. All right, fine. Let's look for her for another 30 minutes, if we still can't find her by then. Before he could finish his sentence, they both heard a piercing scream. Did you hear that? That's Tessie's voice. Both of them quickly ran towards the source of the sound. While running, Aiden sensed something rushing towards him. It seemed the other person was also running at high speed, so they couldn't avoid it. They collided and fell to the ground. Leo ran over worriedly to check. When they got a closer look at the person who ran into them, the two young men realized it was Tessie. She asked in confusion what the two of them were doing here. I just heard a scream. Hearing that, Tessie retorted, "What scream? That never happened." But wait, what is this sound? Tessie signaled for everyone to be quiet and follow her. The three of them stealthily hid behind a bush. Is that a werewolf? Looking closely, it's a werewolf cub, Tessie said proudly. How about it? I won the bet, didn't I? You just found it. The bet was to catch it. Then I'll just catch it right now. Seeing Aiden about to say something, Tessie replied coldly, What's wrong? I see you don't want to lose either. It's not that I think that one is injured and has lost its ability to move. That's why it's hiding under the leaves in a hard-to-find spot. Do you think it could hide like that on its own? Are you saying there's another werewolf around here? I don't know either, but if someone helped it. As he said this, he suddenly noticed there's a necklace on the werewolf cub's neck. What is that? There's something on its neck. When the three weren't paying attention, the parent werewolf had returned behind them, sensing strange breathing behind them. Leo was the first to quickly notice the werewolf. He hastily shouted to call Aiden. He managed to save Aiden, but he himself was injured to some extent by the werewolf's attack. Leo was hit quite hard and sent flying a few meters. Seeing the werewolf at close range, Tessie was too scared to stand up. She tried to calm her trembling body. I have to be calm. I have to deal with the werewolf now. She had to do it to restore her family's name. Her will was quite steely, but it all broke when the werewolf stared intently at Tessie. As it swung its arm to slap her, luckily, Aiden rushed in and pulled her away. She looked at her friend, momentarily surprised. Leo, injured and leaning against a tree trunk, was also extremely worried. Aiden calmly asked, Tessie, are you okay? Tessie asked in a daze. Why did you help me? What do you mean, why my friend is in danger? How could I just stand by? Turning back to the werewolf, its large form had leaped right in front of them. Aiden calmly stood up to shield Tessie. Don't worry. I think it's enraged because it thinks its child is in danger. Then he spoke to the werewolf. I'm right, aren't I? I'm not wrong. Am I? Both Tessie and Leo thought Aiden was doing something pointless, because how could a werewolf possibly understand what he was saying? Aiden paid them no mind and continued to reassure the werewolf that they wouldn't do anything to harm it. And yet the werewolf actually understood his words. It no longer bristled its fur and instead turned to find its cub. It went to the small bush and looked at its weak child. I think it went crazy because of its child. Did it really understand what you said? But how do we know it won't go crazy again? Leo, Tessie. I know what I'm saying is a bit hard to believe, but please trust me this time. With that, he approached the werewolf, continuously reassuring it as he got closer. That child is very weak, isn't it? Even if its effect is low, it will help your child get a little better. The werewolf silently reached out its hand to take the medicine. The moment the werewolf was about to touch the medicine bottle, two spears of light appeared from nowhere and pierced through the werewolf. The peaceful atmosphere instantly turned to chaos. That powerful light increased from 2 beams to 3. Amidst the werewolf's roar, the light wrapped around it like ropes restraining it. Ludger stepped out and called the names of the 3 students. His stern voice questioned, "What are you all doing here?" Leo and Tessie saw him and froze as if they'd seen a ghost stammering for a long time without knowing how to explain. He stepped in front of the students and told them to back away, but Aiden stood in front to shield the werewolf professor. "Please wait a moment. I think that werewolf understands human language, so please reconsider eliminating it." "What nonsense are you talking about?" "It's really not nonsense. Maybe that werewolf." He glared at Aiden. Faced with his terrifying gaze and pressure, Aiden fell silent in shock. He decisively pushed Aiden behind him. Aiden was bewildered, not understanding what was happening. When he looked again, he saw that he had cast fire magic, preparing to incinerate the werewolf. Looking at the fire blazing before him, Aiden suddenly felt an indescribable heaviness. Ludger spoke first. "I will punish you for this misconduct tomorrow. Go back to the academy." The next morning, all 3 were called to the office. Leo was so nervous he occasionally whimpered. "We're done for, really done for." There were so many people. How did we get caught by Professor Ludger? Tessie sat overthinking. "I only made a small mistake. I didn't proactively do anything, but I still shouldn't have done it." As she thought, she glanced at Aiden, who was deep in thought about something. A moment later, the president entered cheerfully to greet her beloved students with Ludger escorting her from behind. The group became even more confused, seeing the president appear in person. Elisa smiled gently and said, Now, sit down and make yourselves comfortable, you 3. The president came here herself, which means we're not just going to get a normal punishment. Do you know why I've summoned you? It seems the professor isn't just planning to give you demerits, is he?" "That's right. You should know how reckless your actions were last night. If things had gone a little differently, someone would have lost their life. Now, you shouldn't look like the world is ending, and Professor Ludger shouldn't scare the students like that. Ma'am, this isn't something that should be easily overlooked." It ended well, didn't it? Besides, you already explained the situation in detail. "Aiden, I heard you saved Tessie, is that right? You have surely realized that your actions were dangerous and wrong, so I've decided to give each of you 10 demerits. But I cannot criticize your actions during a crisis, so I've decided to give each of you 20 merits.